Anyways, I have a fun plan for today. Since y'all are here early, I guess you get to know a bit earlier than everyone else. I'm building an app live with all my usual tech, and it's going to be fun. The plan is we're building an app to answer a question I've had for a while once and for all. What Pokemon is the least round? Excited to figure this one out once and for all. I've been debating this with my friends for a long while. There are a lot of Pokemon that vary wildly in their roundness. And I want to make an app where anybody can go to the website and vote on which Pokemon is more round and which Pokemon is less round. And slowly, via jury by trial of large numbers, I will prove which Pokemon is more or less round. And I'm excited to do that. Anyways, we are now live on Twitch, it looks like. Notifications should be going out momentarily. I am hoping to do this a bit more tutorial-y than usual, but I'm also expecting a lot of questions throughout, so feel free to... actually, I will go make a quick tweet and pin it into the space for anybody who wants to ask a question on Twitter while I'm going, but feel free to ask in Twitch chat as well, twitch.tv/Thea. Let's get started. I am going to start in Excalidraw to give a rough idea of what we plan to build. I really like Excalidraw for getting ideas like this out quick. Okay. Here we have roundest. That's the name of the app for now. We'll say this is the main page for voting. And this will have two boxes. One will have Pokemon 1. The other will have Pokemon 2. We'll have little buttons underneath these. Roundest. Button a bit bigger. Select. Or which is roundest? This is the general idea for the UI. And there will also be a voting page. Or not a voting page, a results page, which will be a little more apple of his eye. Yes, we are serious. This is exactly what we will be wasting our time doing today. We'll say Pokemon 1, 95% round. And I will duplicate this guy a bunch. Pokemon 28 is 75% round. And Pokemon 42 is 12% round, etc. I think this will be relatively fun to build. We have a very clear, here are like the two pages that we're making. We need to persist data somewhere. We need to create API endpoints to access and display that data. And ideally, I would like to cache this page every minute or so that we're not firing a new query every time somebody checks the results. So with all that said, I think you guys can guess what we start with. Init.tips. Click this to copy to the clipboard. Tmux. CD, I'll make this a little bigger so you guys can see better. CD code. I have a personal directory I just named P. Paste that command. Funny, I don't have that installed. Roundest mon. Now we have all this set up. We have the initted TypeScript Next.js repository with all of the Next.js defaults. One of the first things I like to change, we don't need to change any of these things. I don't want to make things unnecessarily complex. I do need Tailwind, though, because I do not know how to develop without Tailwind. Next.js. There's already a guide they have. They like you to use there with Tailwind in it, but that doesn't have TypeScript. So we are going to copy paste, copy, wait.
It's always funny that like I feel like junior developers are like, an experienced developer will know exactly how to install all the packages they need when they start a project. And it's like, no, we go to the documentation too.
Yeah, I spend way more time reading about things than I do writing actual code, and you'll find most senior developers are at a similar place. Like, memorizing all of the places where all the configurations exist is a waste of everybody's time and effort.
Yeah.
I like to move things to source/pages, but to keep things vanilla, I will do this their way. We're not going to have a components fold. Yeah, we are going to have. Fuck. I really like to do source, but whatever. We'll do things the vanilla Next.js way to keep it simple. I'm not going to break all the rules because I'm weird.
Are you actually building an app that looks up the most round Pokemon?
Yes. It doesn't look up the most round Pokemon. It's a voting app for us to vote on which Pokemon is roundest. It will persist all of those votes, and eventually we will have a reliable source of data that provides us all of the votes that people had and lets us like sort Pokemon by most and least round.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, an absolute waste of time unless I also make it a tutorial, hence why we're doing this.
Fair enough, yeah.
Now we have the very basics of the Tailwind stuff set up. Now I get to do my favorite part, gut all of the other things it comes with that I don't like. npm run dev. Now we have this on localhost 3000. And now I get to go delete all of their CSS and also include our global. Import. I'll just throw that in the app. That's fine. We already have one, so. I can kill the styles global. I will kill. Honestly, this whole directory is now useless to me.
Yeah, I delete that one too. If you need to do any of your Tailwind customization, you just do it in the config.js.
Div class name equals text to Excel font or text red 400 or 200 just to make sure it's working. Cool. That is working. Yay. We now have the basics. I do want the whole page to be or have a background color though. The easiest way to do that is an actual styles file. So I am going to bring back. I guess this is a fine start. I like overcommitting in every sense. I don't need to pick through this. I almost always do git add -p so I can pick specific things from the changes I make that I actually do or don't want to commit. But in this case, I just want everything. So I'm going to hide the spaces on there. If anybody wants to see that or has questions about who's talking, let me know. Just want to keep screen real estate as available as I can. Git status, git commit, add Tailwind, and remove CSS modules. Cool. I now wanted to set the background color as a permanent thing. The quickest way to do that, I will bring back the styles folder, global.css. I'm going to do this my favorite way, which is find another project I did it in kind of recently. I need the styles global. And then I just need the colors. And import il/global.css. And now, cool, background and text color are set by default correctly. Nice and easy. I can close this reference because I shouldn't need it anymore. Right. quickly commit that change. Status, git add default page styles. Oh, I don't have a branch or a repo. So next step, everybody's favorite, new repo on GitHub. No template. I'll keep it private for now. I'll make it public after. Roundest mon. I'll make it public now. Why not? Not adding anything because we already have the project local. Yoink. Yoink. And there we go. We're now on GitHub, which is cool in and of itself. But where it gets way cooler is when I go to Vercel, make sure I switch over to my personal, new project, import, deploy. And now we're online. Well, once the build is done, which should not take very long, thankfully. Set up next lint. We'll do that in a bit. Cool. While that's deploying, we can keep working. So the next thing we should do is at the very least start sketching out the primary UI on this page. I am trying to decide like general layout wise how I want to handle this. I think I'll do H screen, W screen, flex column, and just start putting things in here.
Do you follow the build the UI first, then do all the state stuff afterwards?
Depends on where. I tend to go after the thing I think is going to be hardest as early as I can, so I can get that out of the way and know what like the problems are going to be. It also just makes it a lot easier to understand. How do I put it? It makes it easier to know where your time's going to be spent and roughly how long the whole process is going to take. Also, just saw Fizzog asked a great question. What are we building? For those who are tuning in later, we are building an app called Roundest, which is going to be a voting app for people to vote on which Pokemon is most round. Just an average day on Web Dev Wednesday. I saw that this deployed. Go to dashboard. I'm going to give it a domain quick. Roundest.t3.gg. Should take just a few seconds. Surprised it's taking even this long. Oh, it's already done. There we go. Hello world deployed on roundest.t3.gg. Now whenever I push, it'll be there in roughly a minute. Vercel's great. It's so nice being able to get something online that quickly with the ability to define an API or whatever as well, just as easily. So I wanted to test this at BG red 200 first, BG pink 400 second. Just make sure everything is laid out roughly how I would expect. It's full sizing. It is a column, so that makes sense. Yeah, we can work from there. Cool. I kind of want to justify center. Justify center. Typing's hard. Cool. So here I'm going to do like the which Pokemon is rounder. Text 400, text 2XL, text center, kill the background color. Good start. This guy will be the like main voting section, so we'll give it a border, rounded, P8, just to make it nice and padded, voting section. The cat's already screaming at the door. I will hope he stops momentarily, otherwise I might have to go grab him. Yeah, I need to grab him, sorry. Voting section. Let's just put 2 fake Pokemon in here for now. Flex, justify end, justify between. That's what I would want here. Div. I'll just do like empty divs for now. Div versus div. And we'll make this class name with 16H16BG red 200. Immediate thing I'm thinking is this feels too wide, so max W2XL and align center middle. This might be items center. Flexbox is hard. Cool. But that means that it doesn't grow as much as it could. Flex grow might allow that. Nope, that just makes it go that way. Yeah, with rules are hard. This will expand enough once these are bigger. I'll add padding to this. Class name equals P8. Item center. Cool. Generally, this is the direction I wanted to go in. This is coming together a little quicker than I expected. One of like the Theo hot takes, I really don't like margins. So if I have something where I would like more commonly put a margin, I would rather just do a spacer element. So here, I want more space between which Pokemon is rounder in this section. So I'm gonna make a div between the two that's like that. That adds that padding. I like this because it lets you target specific elements and hide and show things a little more directly, and it's not, it makes the specific components have less side effects, naturally speaking. Cool. So now we have a very basic, like, structured UI. My cat's knocking things over. Stop it, bud. I'm gonna quickly commit this. Basic UI structure. And, buddy, I just let you in. You don't need to be out already. Cool. I also love how fast these reload now that I'm using Next 12. Cool. The next thing that's going to be annoying is the API. So I say we bite the hard chunk off all at once and dive straight into doing tRPC. tRPC, docs, usage with Next. We will need to do Prisma after, but I just want to get an API structured and going first. View, okay, import, create, React query hooks. Yep. I will go make this utils folder. I already want to break things up into source. Yeah, I'm doing that. Source. Move. This is gonna likely fail to build. Let's see if I force a reset if it will. That entirely broke because of the style loader, maybe? Yeah, I'm very surprised why. Or, because I'm not purging, that's the problem. Source. I'm just gonna do that and delete the components. Cool. I will let you out in just a moment, bud. Git status, git add, git commit, and install more packages and restructure folders. And now I can start making things the way tRPC likes. So now we're going to, actually I should give an overview of what tRPC does and why I want it for people who aren't as familiar. Cool, so tRPC, the reason I like it is we want to define things that run on our server that the client has access to, but I don't want to define all the shit you normally have to in between, like an API schema, a GraphQL endpoint, or even really a service. I just want to write functions and be able to call them on the front end, but have them run on the back end. tRPC gives a really good abstraction layer for you to write a bunch of functions, chain them through a tRPC router, and then have immediate access to those on the front end. So tRPC lets us build this significantly faster, so we are going to use it to build significantly faster. The cool thing about tRPC is it doesn't actually generate code. It just uses the type definitions from the code you've already written and the functions you've already defined to know safely what type definitions you're consuming on the front end. So we're going to make the utils trpc.ts, paste this here. We don't have an app router yet. They have a sample router here. I will just yoink this for now. I like making a backend folder for these things. Router index.ts. Cool. I also like to have a path to quickly get to source. I think we do that in... I don't think we have to do that in package.json, but we do have to do that in the TS config. Here we are. That's compiler options, right? Cool. What this does is it lets me do @ to get directly to source, so you don't have to like ... all the way to where you're trying to go. Oh, this is the tRPC API. Is that what this is? Yes, it is. Cool. I'm yoinking this part. And we are going into Pages API. So for those that don't know, the API directory in Next.js is a little bit magic. The super cool thing this does is lets you define an endpoint that always runs on a Lambda and returns some JSON. So in this case, we're going to make tRPC, there's a specific naming, tRPC, yep, and then in the brackets, tRPC.ts. tRPC.ts, paste this guy. I have to import this, which means I have to export it here. Now we can import that. And here is the API endpoint. So what we did here is we created a router which has a query hello that takes in a text string that is nullable. This whole thing is also nullable. And it returns greeting hello input.text world or world. So if you put in text, it says that. Otherwise, it just says world. So now to call this, I first need to wrap the app with the provider. So the way I like to do this part is okay, so we already have that. Where's app type being used? Oh, we already are doing that there. App router, ours is somewhere else. So if I delete this, cool. Type app router, export default. What is this all mad about? Oh, because we have multiple default exports. There we go. Nice.
Oh, so somebody asked in the chat too, like tRPC is TypeScript for RPC. I think you have a really good opinion about this.
Yeah, I have a hot take on this. I've been pressuring Alex to rename tRPC for a bit because I think RPCs become a bit of a loaded term with the idea that it's like you think of gRPC when you see tRPC, which somewhat conceptually in terms of like it's a layer between these things, it makes sense. But the magic of tRPC is that you have TypeScript on both sides, so you implicitly have a type-safe contract on both sides already. tRPC allows you to honor that contract through the process of defining an API endpoint without having to make an additional schema. Traditionally, with something like Apollo GraphQL, I'll just find an example here quick. With Apollo, you let's see if I can find Apollo server. Yeah, build a schema. You have to create a schema which defines what different things return, and then you have to create a server that fulfills that schema. So you have your schema, you have all these types, but then you have to make the actual connection or the resolvers, where for each one of these queries, you now have to abstract specific functions with their weird Apollo-specific syntax that allows you to like define how the values this get actually are fetched and returned. But now you have this abstraction between the method in which your code's being consumed and the thing that's providing the data that is getting to that layer. And that separation is an additional thing you now as a developer have to deal with. So I really like tRPC for not making you do all this other work. You just kind of write a type safe function and then call it. And that's why I like using it, especially for quick stuff like this. Even for like bigger stuff like my company, we're using tRPC. Back to work. So we now have this. We have to make sure it works though. So hop into our index, const data loading equals tRPC dot use query array, and this should type or autocomplete. Oh, why is this not auto-completing? That's wrong. Interesting. Are we not importing the type and exporting that correctly? What's going on there? I have to do a restart of the Typescript server too. Oh yeah, that's not where that is. This is in backend router. Nice. And now this is type erroring because we're not calling the right query name. So if I want to add an argument here, it's in here. I can type this and it will autocomplete. So text Theo. And we have is loading. So if is loading, return div loading. If data, return div data dot greeting. So if I now go here, oh, I can't resolve that because I haven't rerun this since I made all those weird changes to the compilation. Cool. Hello, Theo. And you'll see it doesn't even have a loading state because it's actually doing SSR and doing that first hydration pass on the server. So the client never actually has a loading state. I can disable that in the app here by changing this to false. And now you'll see it flashes loading really quick before going to Theo. I don't know how visible that is on the stream. Yeah, it's visible on the stream. Cool. But if I switch it to true, it actually waits until the server has finished loading all of those things before sending down that first pass of HTML, which lets you have slightly slower initial response time, but no weird pop-in and loading state on the client side because all of the data that might take time to load is hydrated on the server first, so no more waterfalls. Cool. Looks like we have all these base parts working. Git status, git add, commit, add tRPC. Going to push that. And now I'm going to stop using this for silly demos and start using this for actual goals related to what we are building. The first thing we should do, so one of the first thoughts I had is, do I fetch the Pokemon that you're voting between on the client or on the server? Like, because I could just select 2 random Pokemon at any point, theoretically, and the client's going to have to be able to do this anyways, because you're going to want to do more than one vote at a time. Actually, I think for that reason alone, I'm leaning towards the client just picking 2 random Pokemon. Yeah, let's do that for now. So the first thing we're going to do is make a get random Pokemon helper. Export const get random Pokemon equals, I'm going to have this take an optional of not this one number. The reason for this is I have to select 2 random Pokemon, and I would like to be able to skip if the one I select is one that I've already selected. So const Pokemon or Pokédex number equals select random number from range JavaScript. Again, to Christian's point, the most senior developers still need to Google search most things. Cool. That's what I was roughly thinking, but seeing if anybody has. Yeah, times max minus min plus min. That's what I figured. Cool. So I will yoink this guy. We only really need this part. I'm going to have const max dex count, or max dex ID equals, we'll do 493 just because in the spirit of Gen 4 and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Multiply this by max dex ID minus 1 plus 1, so that it's never 0. And actually, just for testing purposes, I'm going to make this way smaller, 5. If PokeDex number does not equal not this one, return PokeDex number, else we return get random Pokemon, not this one. I guess I should define this as not this one. Number. Eventually, this returns a number. Now we have this function that we can call however much we need to. So export const get options for vote equals const first ID equals get random Pokemon, const second ID equals get random Pokemon, first ID, return first ID, second ID. So now we have this. Const options, or I'll just do first, second equals get options for vote. We import. And we're going to put these here now. Div, and it needs to close. Second. And if I go back to here, we see the numbers, but I have the awful background color. So we're going to make this 800 so it's a little more readable. 4 versus 1. And if I refresh, 3 versus 1, 2 versus 3, 2 v 3, 1 v 3. I'm just making sure we never get the same number at both. Looks like we did okay with this. Also never seeing 5, which means I don't need to do that -1 that I'm doing. Cool. Looks like this part works. Nice. 493. And now we have that. This all looks good. Git commit, add random Pokemon ID fetcher. Now the next thing we need to do is get the actual data. Pokemon data. Pokemon GitHub. I feel like there's some open data source for this somewhere. I'm trying to remember where it is. That's an Android Pokédex. Is it just PokeAPI? Oh, people did things like 8 days ago. Rad. Pokemon API it is. You like this API v2 Pokemon 1. Interesting. I feel like I got a lot more resource here than I intended. API /v2 /Pokemon /1. Why did this return everything? Oh, is this like all of the game info too? Yeah, game indices, all the moves it can ever learn. Oh man, can I select less? Let's check the docs out. Oh, they have a GraphQL version coming too. That's really cool. Good for them. I don't want to use that because I'm lazy. Node server side with auto caching. TypeScript with auto caching. Cool. Almost tempted to use one of these just for the type defs. How maintained? Does not look very well maintained. Ooh. Ooh, this is so tempting. Build failing. YOLO? I'm voting YOLO on this. Let's do it.
YOLO. Do it.
Yeah. Too potentially useful. PokeNode.ts. Now we create a new tRPC endpoint for, I'm going to delete this query. Dot query, get Pokemon by ID. And this has an input, z.object, z.id, z.number. And this needs a resolve. Resolve href. Input. Return input.id just for now. Cool, that works. Let's Ooh, I really like that trick for getting the images, Graham, but I also need the name based on the number, and that would be a little more annoying to just like rip from something using the number.png method. I've done that before for other Pokemon apps though, so really like that recommendation. We are going to try out this thing though because it looks cool. Import. I'm gonna do that separately. Pokemon client const API equals new const Pokemon equals await API dot get Pokemon by ID input dot ID. And now I have this type safe Pokemon. Can I just return this? And then on the front end, I'm just going to console log this. Const first Pokemon equals tRPC.use query get Pokemon by ID. It's going to type error because I haven't given it an ID yet. We'll just give it ID first. Console.log first Pokemon.data. If I did this all correct, either we're going to get a type error because I'm trying to pass something that it's not friendly with, or yeah, I'm triggering a lot of re-renders right now, and I don't know. Oh, because this isn't stateful. Yeah, react.use memo. I'll just import this. There we go. Stable values. Yay. And here we go. All the data from that endpoint is being returned. I think I crashed my Chrome. I absolutely crashed this tab instance. I'm going to close a bunch of these tabs, actually. Those seem useful, so we'll keep those open. What the hell? Did I crash the SSR? I absolutely crashed the SSR. Oh, I know what's going on. That's really dumb. Okay. I have some thoughts here. My guess is what's happening here is the use memo is not being honored as stable during SSR properly. As such, oh, because that's IDs, update IDs, const first, second equals IDs. There we go. Weird. Maybe if I just turn off SSR. Yeah, I'm going to try that. It feels like there's something going on recursively that I don't want to debug at the moment that's causing that to retry over and over and over unnecessarily. I wonder if it's... No, this should all be stable. Yeah, now I'm a little more confused, but we are going to turn off SSR for the time being to see if that helps. It does. Cool. That console logs is undefined because it's not trying to do the routing there. And on the client, test or server 80, client 195, that makes sense. The quickest way to fix that would be to only make that change on client side, not on server. Use state. I saw the recommendation, Fizz. You mean like here? Like that? The only difference here would be... So the problem we're running into right now is this use state runs on both the server and the client. So the server has different default values than the client does. The quick fix for this would be export get server side props, and in here defining the defaults and then passing those in as props and only updating after a vote. That's like the right way to do this, but I don't think I want to do this the right way at the moment. I have better ideas for how to fix this later, but I just want this working and to have confirmation I'm getting the data I want. Cool. So name, do we get a sprite? We get a sprite. Sprites, front default. Cool. Don't know how high quality those images will be, but we can work with it. We will do first Pokemon, second Pokemon, second if first Pokemon dot is loading or second Pokemon dot is loading, return, I'll just do null for now. Otherwise, we know these exist, which means I can do image source equals first Pokemon to image or sprite or data dot sprites dot front default. Cool. And I'll do the same with second Pokemon. I have these widths and heights set pretty hard. Can I just do 64? That's a decent size. Only problem now is the image doesn't fill. Class name equals W full. Cool. And now we have this loading and fetching two random Pokemon. Cool. This is working. I'm going to remove the BG red and do flex call because I want to below these do a div first Pokemon dot data dot name. Cool. There an easy way to capitalize just the first letter? Fuck it. We'll deal with those types of things later. Class name equals text Excel. Text center. Cool. PB4. That's not where I want to put the bottom padding. I'm going to do that underneath here my usual way. Div class name equals padding or P2. Oh, Tailwind has capitalize? Does it really?
They do actually, yeah.
That is so good. Thank you. God, why is Tailwind so great?
Yeah, it's just capitalized. You can also make it responsive.
That's really cool. I'm going to put these above quick to see if I prefer how that looks. I do not. I want to make these closer though, and it feels like the BG red 200. Yeah, that's what I thought. BG red 500. Yeah, these sprites have so much padding that they don't need. That's going to be annoying to work with. Do they actually, though? Yeah, they do. These images have so much padding. Fuck. We're going to do this the super ugly way. PT -2 rem. I have to do MT. Did that work? That looks like that worked. I hate that that works. Yep. Cool. Way closer. Yeah, nice. That was surprisingly easy. So I'm going to commit this because this is good now. Git status, git add, git commit, backend with Pokemon data. And now, I'm trying to decide what I want to do next because there's a lot of like small things. I think the first thing I want to do is minimize the amount of data we're returning because right now we're returning so much shit. Yeah, let's do that first. So right now we're returning all of Pokemon. We don't need all of Pokemon. We need name, Pokemon.name, sprites, Pokemon.sprites. That's enough to start with. Make sure it doesn't break the type safety. Cool. It does not. So for those that aren't as familiar with the magic of tRPC, the super cool power that it gives you is this guarantee of type safety. So if I change this from name to like nickname, you're going to see this immediately reds out because name doesn't exist. Even though this is server code that runs on my backend and this is client code that runs on the user, the type safety isn't a consequence of a schema in between the front end and back end. It is the inherent result of using tRPC as the method for defining our type safe API. We just get this as a consequence of the way the library is structured, which is super cool. So I'm gonna quickly push this. Git add p git commit -m. Store or send back way less data. So for now, I want to just get the like user flow working here. So I am going to add const or send vote or vote for roundest equals, I guess this should take selected number, and in here to do fire mutation to persist changes, but we also want to update to give you new options. And now I can create a button most rounder. I guess I can just, I guess not. But for roundest first. A Tailwind UI. I own a license. This is okay. Application, buttons, code. I like these. Button. Where do I do that? Yeah, this should be there. Okay, that scale's weird. Oh, it probably has some width rule. Is it the inline flex? No. Trying to think the easiest way. I guess I could do this not the default way. Where is here? Item center. Yeah, cool. That's what we needed to do.
Are you going to do a CAPTCHA, Theo?
Probably not. Good thought, though. That'd be a nice thing to add. I can have somebody like push that if they'd like.
Not my suggestion. Somebody.
Yeah, somebody chat. Yeah, I need to check chat more. I have it on a different screen.
Yeah.
Oh, is this a video attractive for my multi-stream site? Sorry, I just saw that message at DK. This has nothing to do with the company. It's funny because, yeah, the main product's named Round on round.t3.gg is like the main product for the company that I built, and roundest is going to be this entirely unrelated thing. But you're beginning to see the overlap, though, that there was some intention in this. Oh, cool. Why is this failing? Oh, blocked by cores. I know what's going on there, and I have a really dumb fix for this. Let's go to my app, get base URL. So what just happened there, for those that are curious, tRPC is doing like server-side shit for us, a lot of it, to be frank. And one of the things it does is fetch stuff for us, but sometimes it does that is incorrectly. Incorrectly, I think, is a fair word. We have SSR false, so this shouldn't be too big a deal, but I'm going to call get base URL here. So I have like a separate helper function I made to generate the correct URL. Oh, it needs the /API tRPC. I'll just yoink this bit. This should fix everything. Trying to think what other... I do want to change this to be like the correct URL, because by default it might not be. but it shouldn't matter too much. Yeah, we're just going to do this as is. See if that works. I'll bug Alex if it doesn't. Commit style buttons and fix tRPC URL gen. Yeah, Kev, Core sucks. Funny enough, as annoying as it is for even tRPC, it's way better with something like tRPC than it is otherwise. Weird that it's trying localhost 3000 still. Vercel URL should exist in the environment variables by default. That's why that's the recommended path. Let's see if Vercel has anything to say about this one. Oh, it's already deployed the latest. Get. Okay, there we go. Cool. It was just the URL generating incorrectly. Rad. Now we have this on a website, and if we vote on which one's rounder, it will reload with different rounder Pokemon. I should have a better loading state. It's a good next task, actually. Yeah, I'm trying to, because this is the thing that we don't want to do. Trying to decide how I want to abstract this. Do I want to move both of these? I kind of want to move those into a helper. Const Pokemon listing equals. I'm not going to React.fc. Pokemon. I'm going to do. There's a really cool thing you could do with tRPC. tRPC. Where you can infer from a type. Let's see if I can infer. Okay, I don't have this here, so I'm just going to go again to my code examples. I know in our admin panel, I have, infer query response. This is what I was looking for. So this is a helper that Alex wrote that's very copy pastable. I guess I should import the type here as well. And that comes from tRPC server. So what this does is gives me an infer helper that will yank out of the app router the type of a specific thing that we're doing. So if I want type Pokemon from server equals infer, and this will do the usual TypeScript autocomplete that you expect from tRPC. Pokemon from server. This is why I like React.fc. For those that I've gotten in arguments about with this before, this is specifically why I like it. React.fc.
Wait, can you explain why again? Because I missed it.
Yep. So React.fc is a method to stub out a type for a functional component that comes with some expectations underneath. The first one is it comes with children. So props.children now exists, and we know that even though I didn't define it because it's a consequence of using React.fc. The other thing that we get is if we don't return valid JSX, we get an error. So if instead of div here, I return 12, we get a type error.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen there's some guy that I read that was like, don't use React.fc, and it detailed the reasons why. But I think the benefits
Kent Dodds.
Yeah.
He's wrong. It's fine. It happens a lot. A lot more nowadays recently, or to be fair. But yeah, I think that type safety is best done as inference, and this is very much not inference. It's very explicit. But due to the way React manages props, there are enough little gotchas that I prefer this separation.
Yeah, makes sense. I ran into that once where it's like, oh, I'm returning a JSX element, but I didn't have verification for like props or something. It was really weird that it would have been prevented with React.FC. So
Yeah, it sounds about right.
yeah, I mean, does React.FC have any like performance difference? I don't think so, right?
No, it's a type definition, so this doesn't affect anything
Oh,
ever.
okay.
Yeah, this is imaginary. This disappears as soon as you like output the bundle.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't see why not then.
it's a preferential thing. It's just some people's preferences are wrong. Props.vote. Why is this not prettiering? Oh. Import type React from React. Cool. Now I want to use this guy for the buttons here. So I'm going to do... Yeah, try to decide how I want to handle the conditional here. First Pokemon dot data. I'll do first Pokemon dot, or not first Pokemon dot is loading, and not second Pokemon dot is loading. And from here is where we do this guy, Pokemon listing, Pokemon equals first dot data. I actually don't know that this returned, so property vote is missing. Cool, my type safety is working. Vote equals vote roundest first versus, why is that doing that? Oh. And yoink this for second now. And second, delete all of this bit. And now we should have a much better loading state. Localhost. Not much better. I'm trying to figure out how I want to handle the inherent size mess that occurs there. Maybe I want to move this over actually to the image. I like that idea. I don't like that. Oh, because this is W full. That's why. Nice. I think I suck at talking things out, so thank you for that, Kevin. Yeah, if anything I'm saying, if I'm glossing over anything that's interesting or confusing and you want more detail, please let me know. But this is more like just generally I'm voicing my dumb workflow and hope that this is a good source of questions. Also, like in the future, if you right now are watching a video recording of this later on and something I do here is interesting or confusing to you, always feel free to hit me up on my Twitter handle at t3.gg, spelled T3DOTGG. Feel free to send me a timestamp or a clip from this video directly and say what is confusing or interesting about that spot. And when I have a chance, I'm more than happy to get back to you and take a look. I think it's time to start persisting. So there are two persisting problems that we have to resolve here. The first one is the persisting of votes. So yeah, I'll just problems, things to persist. 1, votes. 2, maybe data fetched from API. So the first thing I'm like concerned about, since the API that we're getting provided by, what's it called? Words are hard. Sorry. The API that we're getting from the, what do we have defined in here? The official like Poke node thing that's coming from the PokeAPI. This is going to get rate limited super hard, especially if we're like the first people to use it this hard. So I would like to check our own database to see if we have the Pokemon, and if we don't, go get that Pokemon. And then persist the Pokemon that we get. I have a few ways I could think of doing this. I also don't know if this is the right use of our time right now. I'd much rather just start persisting the values that we're getting from votes. So I'm going to start with that problem, actually. Yeah, we're going to start with that. Let's start handling votes. So first thing we got to do, set up Prisma. And I like PlanetScale, so we'll use PlanetScale along with it. Sign in, GitHub, docs, Next.js, see if they have a quick start. I'll just do Prisma client, quick start. They want you to do their starter. Add Prisma to existing. I don't know if I can switch teams. E3 personal. Ready to create. US West. Roundest. Roundest mon. Create database. And now we have a database being instantiated. Radical. While that's going on, I am going to get all things set up with Prisma. npx Prisma init. And we hop into here. MySQL. They have an example model in here. Nope. Connect. I'll handle that in a bit. Concepts. I just want to see an example schema, and they're not going to give me one, so I'm going to look at my own schema, because then I can have one quicker. Prisma, schema. Let's find a basic relation. This will be a good one to rip from. Model vote. None of these things exist. We do need a unique ID to be generated on this, so we'll yank this guy. ID string. Created at, so we can keep track of when votes occur. Voted for. Number. Voted against. Number. We don't need to do that. So just int, yeah. Too used to JavaScript. Yo, JC, what's good? Cool. This is a pretty basic but working data model. Now I need to set up the PlanetScale like dev experience. So I like to do a separate dev branch and shadow. You have to do this, I guess, due to the way that PlanetScale works. Prisma likes to handle migrations as an abstraction from your model, where they will create a SQL migration that needs to be run. And managing that against your own production deployment can be really annoying, especially if you want to have your data protected. So the other thing I need to create is that shadow. So Theo shadow. Region's the same. It's being created now. Why do we need both voted for and voted against? Because I want to be able to track if a Pokemon is in a vote and didn't get voted for. So at any point, any vote is between two Pokemon. I need to know what percentage of the time one Pokemon comes up, it is voted for. And if we don't keep track of who's in the votes, then we don't know. So yeah. Oh, Pokemon Coliseum. That was one of the hardest games I beat as a child. Cool. I like to make a new window to keep track of my P-scale connections, because one of the cooler things PlanetScale does is I don't have to run the database locally. I can just connect to the branches I created there. I also need to go into the settings for this and turn on migration framework Prisma. Right. Now that that is done, I'm able to P-scale. Round V1 is for my project roundest. Oh, I need to P-scale org. P-scale org switch T3 personal. Oh, it's roundest dash mon. Yoink. Oh, that's wrong. Paste 3310 and make this shadow. Yeah, the Prisma package for VS Code is so good. I absolutely adore it. I have such a good time doing this, having the auto formatting, Golang style auto spacing for tab or such or and stuff is so good. Yeah. Cool. Now that we have that, everything's connected. I should be able to set things up in the app now. There is the Next.js best practices thing for Prisma, Next.js. Yeah. So we're going to go to backend and make a utils in here. Utils prisma.ts. I totally installed Prisma. Why would it not have that? Getting started. Maybe I have to npx prisma migrate dev, do the first generate. Oh, I don't have the environment variable set. This needs to be the local host 3309, I think I did. Yeah, 3309. npx prisma migrate dev. Oh, I don't need to do the MySQL. MySQL. And now the shadow. It's done the same way. The key here being I have to do this weird syntax for giving it a root to connect with.
Yeah.
At least a decade now, which is weird. PX Prisma migrate dev. Will this finally work? Looks good so far. Database migration name, add voting model. Woo! Real data. From here, we can have some real fun. Well, this, yay, cool, no more type errors because we actually have a Prisma client definition now. So, with this magic, we get to have a lot more fun. So let's hop over to the router. Router index.ts, export app router. This all looks good, but we want to define something much more fun. Our first mutation. So dot mutation. First, vote for Pokemon. Or cast vote. Yeah, I like cast vote. Input z.object voted for z.number voted against z.number. And async resolve. I don't know why it really wants to do that every time. Return success true for now. Cool. So now we have this mutation that you have to pass in these values and then it does something. In this case, we want it to do some stuff with Prisma. Const update or vote in db equals await Prisma dot. I have to import this. Oh, let's import from the right place. Nope. Import Prisma from @/backend/utils. Oh wait, Prisma dot. Here's where Prisma gets really cool. Since we have this model in our database, we can autocomplete off of things that we know from our schema. So in here, we're going to get an error because I'm not passing the correct stuff here to create a new element. This needs data, but what I'm type erroring data. Type is not empty is not assignable to without. It's missing voted for and voted against. Cool. So if I grab input, voted, I can just do this actually because it's all the same, which is really stupid that this works, but it does, which is magic. Cool. Vote in DB. So now we have an endpoint that will persist our changes. Let's add this all to our stuff right now, just so we have it. Oh, I need to not track the .environment file, so git ignore. Ignore that entirely for now. Add Prisma and basic endpoint for voting. Git push. Don't need this guy anymore. Do want to make this work on the front end, and then I have to go handle everything on the server and the database so this actually works forever. So here, we want the vote to actually do the vote. So what we will do here is define the mutation. Const mutate, or I'll just say fire vote or vote mutation equals tRPC.use mutation, and auto completes the cast vote. And now I have this guy, which has a .mutate as well as a success and like data and other stuff within it. So like voice mutation.data is the data if you fired one, null if you haven't. Voice mutation.mutate, this is what actually does the mutation here. So what we want to do is if selected equals first, vote mutation dot mutate voted for first, voted against second, else cool. Now votes should persist. Somebody redeemed find a cat. Give me 1 sec. I want to make sure this works. So if we did this all correctly, I might have to, yeah, this isn't going to connect because I made those changes. So I'll close and open this. Yay, that's connected. And now if I vote Riolu, Chansey, Kingler, Ponita, and I npx Prisma Studio, 4 votes. Ta-da! We're now keeping track of votes. We did it. Gonna prove this works. I want to have this work forever, which means we need to add this stuff to the official like main branch. Promote a branch, branch main. Cool. Buddy. I might have to let him back out in a second. Yep. Now we can make a deploy request. Can we make a deploy request? Branches. This will be the easiest way. Create deploy request. What this does is it takes the things that are different from our branch we were working on here in the pscale connection, roundest mon, theodev. This is a custom branch just for us to work in during development. So I put this branch through the migration that we did, and if we add these changes to the deploy queue, this is the equivalent of like a pull request, but just for schema changes. So in here we can see the actual SQL that gets output of create table vote, ID, yada, create at yada, vote for, etc. for all of the things that are necessary to actually create the SQL stuff. But we don't actually have to like do it, which is what's so cool here. It just all is generated as a consequence of using Prisma and using PlanetScale. And now this is going to deploy. It might already have, it just might be taking its time to update here because it's going across all the theoretical sharded instances. Yeah, he's extra needy. Isn't that right, bud? Did that go through yet? Okay, cool. It deployed, which means we are now safe to get status, get add, get commit, make voting persist. And I'm not going to push this yet because I want this to deploy with access to the database. Right now, we are connecting to the database locally using the PlanetScale CLI. In production, you don't have a PlanetScale CLI that's quite as easy to access and use. So, as such, we have to get a connection URL that can be used. Nation I'm looking for. And seeing where we get the URL. URL. Connection string. Aha, this is what I was looking for. Cool. So once again, I need to not screen share because... Oh, cool. It does hide this, but I don't want to screen share because I don't want any risk of this being visible. We should now be good, which means if I get status, get push, and now we wait for this build, I'm going to close all these other things we don't need anymore. GitHub, TheoBR, roundest mon. So we have this deployment, which means theoretically, if we go to roundest, and keep this console open so I can see if anything goes wrong. We've done that now, and if I change this so I'm connecting to main instead, just to see the main DB data, npx Prisma Studio, and we can see, yay, the votes appear in here. And if I go and I vote more, and I go back and refresh, we have more votes. Woo! We did it. Since when is an H.264 decoder not packaged with Linux? Since always, literally, because H.264 is proprietary, so there's no truly open source implementation. Anyways. Connect back to pscale, the theodev branch, so we can keep deving locally and not worry about things. Rad. I still want to handle the database thing. I also want to do some magic with next image to potentially cache that better. Yeah, let's. I'm gonna make a list of the things I still want to do. Let's do that. So first, I need to make a readme.md. Oh, I already have one. Cool. Roundest. Which Pokemon is most round? Answering all of life's toughest questions. PM run dev. Delete all the rest. To do, I want to persist data fetched from Pokemon API. I want to create the results page with counting, sorting. I want to use next image to handle image caching and better rendering. I also want to maybe move images to the Bulbapedia path that people were suggesting prior. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Trying to decide the order of events. I'm really curious about the image caching stuff, and I kind of want to try this. So let's start there.
This is the next image.
Yep.
Okay.
The bane of my existence. For those that don't know, I battle next image pretty regularly. It's a great idea, but stumbles in its execution somewhat often. So I am going to work through some of its rougher edges. We have a pretty simple use case here where like the image has a known size ahead of time and it's always placed the same way, and it's always coming from one URL. This should be the ideal use case, but I've been wrong before. So we're going to start by switching over these images to next image. So import image from @next, or it's not even @next, just next image. And then in here,
I'm gonna head out. I'll be back probably in like 40 minutes. See you later.
Yeah, I'll probably just kill the space and do the rest of this on GitHub, just so or on Twitch, just so I have to manage less stuff. Thanks for stopping by.
Sounds good. Yeah, see you later.
Cool. Space is done. I'm just going to focus on here because things are going pretty well. Haven't we all battled next image? You say things like that, but then Vercel doesn't fix it. So I don't know if they've actually, like, if everybody's actually battled these problems or if we mostly ignore them. Let's... Invalid host. Yep. Need to go configure the valid hosts. Next.js, image, hosts. Valid? Nope. Okay. Default. Okay. So I want to add this. I hate that I have to make a next config just for this. Next.config.js. We don't want to use ImageX. We want to use default. And we don't want that. We want this URL. Yeah, I'm not surprised the audio here is going to be much better. I was using a crappy lav mic on Spaces, which I can now drop, which is nice. And on here, I'm using my Wave 3 with like audio processing and compression that I manage myself. Will this work now? I'm probably going to have to reload the builds. Yeah, because I made config changes. Why is this mad? Oh, like capital D default. It's capital D in the fucking docs, you assholes. It really feels like image gets no love at Vercel. Invalid source prop. because of the HTTPS. Really? Fuckers. Thank you, Kevin. It said you can do the slashes. In the docs, it literally has an example with slashes. What? Sorry. Why in the docs? Why in the docs is it HTTPS if I can't use that or even the path after? Why the fuck do they call this path if it's host? This isn't a path, this is a host now. The way they have configured this is incorrect, and I am angry. It is configured under images in my Next.config.js, though. That valid? There are other options for this shit? Like, what the hell? Do I have to do custom domains first? Is that all I have to do? That's really dumb. Domains. This is so stupid. What does this come out? 216 RAM, which is 256 pixels. That's fine. Width equals 256. Height equals 256. Cool. Let's look at more next image stuff to for those with layout fill. What are the other layout options? Oh, fixed. And I'm just gonna set fixed on this instead. See if that works. Layout equals fixed. Kill that. That does what I want it to. Where's the GitHub? I should link that at the bottom. I'll add that quickly, actually. Good call. GitHub, Theo, BR, roundest, mon. I'm gonna quickly add this though. Git add, git commit, use next image loader. And now do a relative div class name equals sticky b or bottom 0 with full border a href equals GitHub link GitHub. Okay, that is trying, but not hard enough. Absolute. Should this be a grid of some form? Yes, but we will get there when we get there. Absolute bottom 0, W full. Probably don't actually want the border. Text XL, text center. pb2. Good enough. You now have a link to the GitHub on the site. Git status, git add p, git commit, add GitHub link to bottom of site, git push. Oh, Kiki or Booba. Yeah, I am familiar with that. Yeah, that's an old classic nonsense mapping experiment. And that is definitely like a subconscious influence on what I'm doing here by asking a question as abstract as which is rounder and expecting people to find meaning in this themselves. I am curious how much better the deployment feels now that we've gotten the next image caching. Yeah, these are being cached on our server now. Cool. So that solves the image data problem. I did want to try, I remember Graham linked earlier a syntax to like break the URLs from Bulbapedia, which interestingly, the link he sent, which did work before, is now forbidden. So I don't know how reliable that method's gonna be. If you have a way for me to generate a URL for a Bulbapedia image such that I can externally access it, so the problem there is that link isn't to the file. And when you click the link to the file there, it comes with cookies that you get from having been to that page before. You can't directly link to that file in like a non-whitelisted like accessed thing. Like the first link you sent me to the 001 did not work. Here, actually, I'll just Twitch TV/Theo just to prove this live. We're going to... Okay, this is muted. Cool. Can I scroll back far enough? I can't. So I'm going to paste this link that I have on my desktop right now, one of the ones you sent before, into chat. I'm going to click this. Oh, wow, infinite recursion. Click this here, and you see 404 not found. But if I go to the file link first, so I go to this, but for 001, and now I go back here and refresh. Interesting. I thought that would work. Okay, what's different about these URLs? Interesting. Okay, the URLs are entirely different depending on... Yeah. So this one was B0, this one 003, 001. So these actually have different paths, fundamentally, which makes this significantly harder to scrape. Also, these icons are shit quality. So I think I'm going to stick with the ones that we have right now, knowing that in the future I can handle that better. Rad. So we're doing images somewhat correctly right now. It's definitely loading a lot faster as a result, and once one image has been loaded once, that's now cached in our like cache layer forever. So this should be fast enough and get faster over time, which is cool. So Registeel is definitely rounder. Ooh, I think Butterfree's rounder. Clampearl's definitely rounder. Giraffe is rounder. His tail. Ooh, fuck. He'll be mad if I don't say Lopunny's round. Mewtwo's pretty round. Shelter's slightly rounder. Snorlax is way rounder. Well, that was a tough one. Krogan has circles on his face. That's pretty round. Ooh. So I didn't download these images, DK. These are coming from PokeAPI, which is this. And rather than fetching directly from this on the back end and like forwarding things, I found a cool helper package called what was it called? PokeNodeTS. And this creates this API instance. Rename this for clarity. PokeAPI connection. And this will fetch the Pokemon by ID from that like public API and give me a type safe return that I can then use as I need to for whatever I want to do with it, which is super cool. The thing I want to start doing though is keeping a decent bit of this data on my own servers, simply because it makes doing transforms against the data much easier, and I won't have to make like hundreds of fetch requests to get lots of things at a time. I'm also curious, can I do, does get Pokemon by ID take, it just takes one ID, it does not take an array. Can I, okay, get ability by name, get ability by ID, get characteristic. Yeah, I kind of want to write like a backfill. Theoretically, we should do different unknown or unknowns for each letter, but no. No. So right now, my gut feel is it would be a good use of time to start persisting these. I kind of just want to write a script that does it quick. Yeah, let's do that. Get status, get add p, get commit, better naming, so I don't forget that change. And now I want to make a script. So I'm going to make a higher level up here. Scripts. Also going to try to remember how I handled this in here. I have in package JSON. Oh, I deleted this change before. I know. There's open source raid guild actually has the Scrivener changes that I was helping with. Package.json. Aha. So the reason I'm looking for this is I want to be able to use TypeScript in TS Node to easily run a script. So I don't need this open anymore. I'm going to close it so I stop making that mistake. Package JSON, adding the script here, npm install save dev, TS Node. TS Node lets you run like TypeScript code in Node.js pretty trivially. So now that we have that, I want to update the model to include the things we need it to. So we're going to hop into Prisma, schema. We're going to make some pretty significant changes here. Model, Pokemon. Pokemon has ID. I don't really have created at for this. Doesn't matter. I kind of want to make this Pokédex number, but it's going to be the same either way, so we should just leave it as ID. Name, string, image, or sprite, URL, string. And now I want to link this to a Pokemon. Let's look at some relation examples. I'll just pull up my own schema again. So these should both be ints, and this ID needs to be an int as well. We will not provide it a default. Voted for ID, voted against ID. Voted for Pokemon at relation. Fields. voted for ID references ID. And this is, okay, so I guess messages is probably the better thing to compare with. I guess that, yeah, votes for votes against Pokemon. Relations are hard. Oh, howdy, other Theo. Good to meet you, man. So, the way I handle this here, messages at relation references ID. Yeah, the problem here is that, like, oh, clever way to scrape all the Pokemon DB images. I might end up doing that in the future. For now, I am happy with Next.js and Vercel caching the images for me from wherever I'm like fetching them from with the API. So I'm going to stick with that for the time being, but that is a good solution for near future. What I'm trying to decide is how I want to manage this relation where I am creating a vote entity that is linked to two Pokemon. One is linked as a for, and one is linked as an against. And I want to keep the data model and the vote roughly the same, but also link it twice, I guess. Okay. Error voted for in model vote both refer to Pokemon. Prisma relations. What is my reference on this? This is the ID from here. Do I need to make the field here votes for? Or votes for? References must only refer to scalar. DBs are hard, guys. Field author, user, field, author ID, references. I'm supposed to put that after? Is it really that dumb? Oh, okay, now it's mad because both of these are referencing with the ID. To relation. Relational data models are hard. Oh yeah, TB or T3 shares to say DBs are hard. I'm very down for this. Many to many. I guess this makes a little more sense. Do I have to create a vote link? That's really annoying, but I totally do. Fuck. Why is this so complex? Databases are hard. Just add a name to the relations. Can you just do that? How do I name a relation? Oh, it's just name : that's dumb. Votes for? Ambiguous self-relation, both refer. I guess I can just have votes. What the hell? Relation name. Oh, I guess I have to do this too. That relation votes for. What the fuck? What the hell? What the fuck? Fields. Relation on model is missing an opposite. If I just do this, vote for, vote against. Cool, whatever. It's happy now. Rad, we did it. I don't really know what I did different, but we did it. Get status, npx prisma migrate dev. It's gonna be one of those migrations where I have to do some manual changes. Yep. So in the migration, create only. This is going to give us an incomplete migration where we have to do a little bit of raw SQL, which shouldn't be too bad, thankfully. Yes. Store Pokemon relations. Cool. Alter. We want to rename this, so. Yeah, I can do that quick. Rename column MySQL. Alter table, yeah, to alter. Rename. I don't like that rename doesn't or isn't a hot word or keyword. Rename to voted against ID. Rename to voted for ID. PX Prisma migrate dev. We're on with dev branch. Cool. Oh, I remember this. There's, I think you can only do one rename at a time in MySQL. Full vote. Ready for this to work? What the fuck? Database foreign keys cannot be created. Oh, I need to like set the stupid thing. Foreign keys cannot be created. MySQL Prisma. Let's see. Why does none of this have like the schema? It's all things I'm expected to do myself. New problems I've never had before. This is fun. I wonder if it's just because I did the altering. I just drop and redo. Will this work? Nope. Whatever. We don't need to keep the old votes anyways. I'd rather start from scratch. Does that allow foreign keys in the database schema? Currently redirects here. This is the referential integrity thing. I had a feeling this was going to bite me. Here features referential integrity. Let's do it. Nope. Why did that not do it? Oh, it's because I already have the migration created. Can I just delete that? Come on, come on. Found changes that cannot be executed. That's fine. We can execute them because I'm okay with dropping things. And that works. Cool. So, oh, I forgot to name it. Oops. That was silly of me. It's technically not too late to rename it. Add Pokemon reference. MPX Prisma, migrate, reset. Yes. Get status, get add. Migrate, add Pokemon reference, add TS node. That's correct enough. Cool. From here, I made the scripts directory fill db.ts. Oh. We want to have this API from PokeNode const do backfill equals async do backfill const PokeAPI equals new const all Pokemon equals PokeAPI.list Pokemons. Zero, we just want 483. Log Pokemon, all Pokemon. And we want Prisma, so Prisma, will this auto import? I wonder. Nope. Import from @/backend Prisma const creation equals Prisma dot Pokemon.create many data all Pokemon.map p name p dot name. Is this not? Oh, because I didn't wait. Pokemon.results.map. Cool. Are you fucking me? So for anybody who's watching and just saw what happened here, that's so annoying. This guy doesn't return the Pokemon. It returns the URLs to each of the Pokemon. Named API resource. Does it at least? Also, sorry, Brent, this is taking longer than I expected. Do these have like the name of the Pokemon? Okay, cool. We get the names from this. And the images are pretty easy to auto-generate the like URL for, I think. Yeah, just the number. Cool. We can do that then. Const Pokemon by name equals all Pokemon dot formatted Pokemon equals all Pokemon dot results dot map p name p dot name p as name string dot name URL index is index +1. What did I name this in DB? Prisma schema. I named it sprite URL. So that's what we'll name it here. ID is index +1. And now data is that. Cool. If I did this correctly, this should fetch the first 493 Pokemon from PokemonDB and make all of them entries in the database. npm run ts node scripts fill dbts. What failed? Oh, I can't do the weird pathing because I don't have this included. Yeah, I usually just get lazy with this when I have this problem. And do source. Yay! That worked. Our npx Prisma Studio. And we have 493 Pokemon, all named correctly in order, and all these should work. Nice. We did it, Reddit. I also love that the type I was getting here was just incorrect. I'm happy I could fix that easily. Yeah, cool. Now that that is fixed, I'm going to delete this from here. And instead of resolving this from here, we're going to const Pokemon equals Prisma dot Pokemon dot find first, where ID input dot ID. Oh, this needs to be awaited. If throw tRPC. I'm trying to remember like the right. I'm just gonna be lazy and throw new error. LOL doesn't exist. And instead of sprites, sprite URL is just going to be Pokemon.sprite URL. We can just return Pokemon here, honestly. That way, if we make DB changes in the future, we're good. And here, we now get type errors because this doesn't exist anymore. It's just sprite URL. Now, if I localhost 3000, oh, because I haven't reloaded Prisma since I made the schema changes. That makes sense. Cool. And that's way faster because it's not fetching from their API every time. It's fetching from our model. As such, it is time to add all of this. I should check to make sure voting is working still. Shepherd's rounder. Error. Cool. Voted for, voted against. Invalid. Oh, because that needs to be ID. Voted for. Good thing I checked that. I'm still going to commit this. Git commit starting move to internal data. Oh, thanks for coming by, Graham. Good to see you, man. Really appreciate it. We got the sprite URL now. The problem was the persist. So if I go back to router in here, I don't want to just blindly drop the input in here anymore. Voted against ID is input.voted against. Voted for ID, input.voted for. Now I've made that change. Oh, this is a tough one. Leaning Swalot. Cool. Localhost 5555. Did I close it? I did not. I have Pokemon here. And these all link through correctly. We did it. We did it, Reddit. It's here. Fuck yeah. Pretty pumped this works. Git status, git add p, git commit, fix persistence. I still have to migrate the DB on prod, so I'm gonna go do that on the PlanetScale site. Sign back in. G3 personal. Branches via dev. Create deploy request. Looks good to me. I'm gonna have to rerun the script that filled it all. Add changes to deploy queue. Close a bunch of tabs because I have way too many open. Deploy request still going. Should be ready in a second. Da-da-da. And yay, deployed. Which means round. Wow, I got the same Pokemon twice. What are the chances? Ooh, this is a tough one. Lean Nijurl. Cool. This seems to be working now. Good stuff. Garantia altered. Interesting. Now I'm a little concerned that we might have gotten things we didn't intend if that's how Garantia comes through. Whatever. We can work with this. I'm happy enough. From here, let's make the view page. And after this, I'll be done. So, we want a new page. Source, pages, new, results.tsx. Export default results page. Or function results page. Turn div results. Localhost results. Cool. Now, I'm going to do this a little different because I want to make this page static-ish, where it will generate the first time somebody goes to it in a 5-minute window. So if I go to it and nobody's went in a while, it'll generate a new page. And then if you go to it within 5 minutes, you get the one I already generated. So we don't have to read the entire DB over and over again, because I expect this will be a kind of heavy query. So export get server side props. I'm going to find an example in one of my code bases. Get server side. Oh, cool. You can just import this. I might even copy and paste this whole guy. Results page. Make this div results div again. Kill that and that. But these are not the props that we want. We want to do some fetching stuff. I might be incredibly lazy and just do this here. Yeah. Const result, or Pokemon ordered by, or yeah, Pokemon ordered equals Prisma, or oh wait, Prisma. Will this auto import? It will not. Really annoyed by that. Should figure out a fix for that later. From at backend utils Prisma. And now we have this Prisma.Pokemon find many order all results Prisma. What I want to do now is some more complex filtering, sorting, ordering, and aggregation stuff. So let's, okay, sorting. Okay, cool. Select. What are the options from here? Okay, select where, or ID. I figure just like select all, basically. Prisma select all from. I'm just gonna do Prisma find many. It's been a while since I just wanted to grab literally everything without relations. Just like, I want all of this. Find many. required. Oh, this where is not required. So if I just do this, console.log, did I find Pokemon? Pokemon ordered. Cool. That works. So order by voted. Let's okay. Order by. An example. Aha. Will this just work? And I also want to select the count. Who am I kidding? Select ID true, name true, URL true. What else did I want in here? Voted for. Can I do a count? Vote. Voted for or voted against. Count relation Prisma. Aha. Count voted for true? No? Where the hell do I put this? What can I count in here? Do I have to aggregate to get these things? Include count. Oh, count select. Interesting. Did not know you could select off count. Voted for true. Vote against true. And this should give me exactly what I'm looking for now. I refresh, check here. Count vote for, vote against. Yep. If I go all the way to the top, we should have things I did vote for. We do. Look at that. We're now getting the data we expect. And this guy needs. I'm just gonna const results page react.fc Pokemon equals props. The type of this is going to be a little annoying. I have options for how to get that. Oh, I know what I can do. Const generate or get Pokemon in order equals async. Return. Why did those brackets get deleted? I don't want to do that off of tRPC. I had a good inference pattern before. Infer Typescript async function. Find a cat. I'll find a cat in a second. I want to get this working. I did this before, and there's like a lot of ways to do this, all of which are dumb. What I'm trying to do is infer the type def off of this call, which shouldn't be this hard, but is for dumb reasons. Why is this so dumb? Never. All right. Just to get that to fix itself. Ooh. I have a way to do this. I built an inference for infer async return type. tsbs.ts. Export. How is this being used? Oh, type of. Cool. And export default results page. So what this now does is it infers the type of whatever we do here and passes it through here. This is why I like tRPC. You don't have to do any of this shit, but right now we kind of have to because there's a lot of things we do and don't know that I have to like fulfill that knowledge between, because we don't technically know what static props is passing back, or this isn't static, this is get server side props. And I Next.js server side props. There's a thing you can hand this revalidate. But get static props takes a revalidate. Okay, here's the incremental static regeneration. They do this. Okay, they do it in static. Okay, cool. So we do want get static. Static props. And we want to revalidate every 60 seconds, we'll say. At most once every 10 seconds. Cool. I like that. That's not too hard. Now this page will regenerate every 60 seconds or when somebody requests, depending on how often requests occur. And we can start listing results. So const Pokemon listing equals Pokemon gonna make this that number. For those that don't know, when you have an array type in TypeScript, you can pass it number in brackets like this and get the type of whatever it like has on it if the types of the array are consistent. So in this case, it's consistently this typing for the whole array. So if I do this, it means we want the type of any one value from it. And div image, or I should source the correct image with next image. So let's do that quick. It's annoying, but whatever. Div class name equals flex. Image Close others. Index.ts. Where is image? This is going to do React.fc. This is props. Last name equals flex, flex call. Div. I should make this an H1. H2 is fine. Props.pokemon.map. Current Pokemon. Turn ta-da. And now all the results. We'll probably have to do some level of virtualization to make this a performant page, but for now, YOLO. Need to make this page less awful. Let's not make these 256. Let's make these 32. Flex border pot or border B, just to like have a line between each one. P4. I think 32 is a little rough. 64. P2. Props that Pokemon dot name. Items center. Let's call items center. Class name equals font or text to Excel. Trying to figure out how I want to handle the max width of this. Max W to Excel works for me. Yeah, I'll give this another container. As annoying as it is, it does make this better. Now I can set max width here instead. No, I can't actually. I guess if I set W full max width, that'll be fine. It will not be. Oh, because I'm doing item center. I can kill that, and then it will full width. There we go. Nice. And border. P2. Results. I'm just gonna P4 that. It has padding on the top as well. Rad. We now have a results page that works. Git status, git add results page. Ta-da. I can add some like more info here. Div class name equals flex. This is just so I can keep the name and the sprite close to each other, because I want to have another section here that's like the count. How do I want to generate this? Also, I'm getting annoyed doing props.pokemon for all this shit. So Pokemon, kill both of those. Pokemon dot votes. That's dot count. Const generate count percent equals earn divided by vote for, vote against equals Pokemon count. We want this to be vote for divided by vote for plus vote against. All of this times 100. Divide between. Nice. If vote for plus vote against equals 0, return 0. That's just like the escape for if there's no votes on a Pokemon yet. Cool. I think that this is all mostly done now. Like a little bit of padding on the right there. Class name equals PR1. That looks about right. Get status, get add p, add percent round count to results page. Cool. Now, of the things I still wanted to do, how are we doing? We decided against that one. We did this. We did this. Better loading state between votes. It's the last thing I wanted to do. Add this README change. Quick. Let's first see if the deployment hit. Roundest.t3.gg. I should add a link to the results. Let's do that quick too. For link from next link. href equals results. Good enough. I vote for Shroomish. Go back. Shroomish is in here now. Yay. Nice. I owe a cat. I need to go find that quick. Let me just push this. Link to results page. I thought that wasn't streaming the screen. God, that's so sad. I just had a really dumb mistake that TypeScript saved me on. So I'm going to recreate what I just did. I abstracted these loading checks. And I did this. Not is loading. And I got the error here. Type undefined is not assignable to Pokemon. It's like, okay, that means this type inference is failing. I'm just going to not those so that I get my pass. I did this. I went here, and I type errored. It's like, okay, what did I do wrong? I look through and I realize, oh, this isn't the loading state. This is the data loaded state. And what's funny here is when I delete these, TypeScript's inference is smart enough to know that a condition underneath this binding we made here is safe on this. So if I delete this one line, this will type error because the type inference from this constant is strong enough to correctly infer within the JSX subconditions. That is madness. TypeScript is so fucking good. And if you're not using it already, please tell me why so we can fix that. Because, man, even like junior, like the beginning of your career developers, this is easier to do. So now that we have that, not data loaded, and I want an SVG for this. So SVG loader. SVG. Oh, awesome spinners. This is the one I was thinking of. Somebody made this collection of SVG loading spinners. There's a really good. Is it loading IO? No, it wasn't. Is it SVG loaders? Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of. Cool. I love this one. I've used it forever. Save images. Cool. Rings.svg. Can I scroll up to public? Rings SVG. Not the most compressed thing. I don't really care. Image source equals rings.svg. Data const data loaded equals false. Count this out temporarily. Oh, it says don't need to do public, just slash rings. So the annoying thing is going to be like the UI shift. I almost want to move this out of the container here. So just to justify between and remove these guys from the footer. Yeah, I like that. And then PT8, give it enough space. Oh, I don't need the padding 2 there anymore. That's what's causing that weird problem. Or there. I probably need the one here still. Okay, cool. That's what I was expecting that to do. Class name equals width 48. Cool. So it's really fast here, but it will not be that fast on the server. I think there's a better way to do this, actually. Now it will never, ever hide. At least it shouldn't. The data should always exist. Oh, no, it won't because we're doing a new query. Yeah, fuck. Yeah, there's a whole new query instance, so caching the old data is a bad call here. Yeah, I will leave those loading states then. I do think this is as good as that can get then. Good to know. Yeah, this is fine. This is totally fine. Yeah, this is so much better than it was, and is a really cool demo of all the things I wanted to show off, so. Add decent enough loading state. Cool. I guess that we can call that complete. So how's that for time? 3 hours, 10 minutes, not counting all the time I wasted talking to y'all, spinning up random other things, dealing with my cats, etc. to build a fully functioning, scalable production service that solves my long-standing question of which Pokemon is roundest. Also, I'm noticing we haven't had the deploy with results yet. Is there something going up with the deploys? Cool, we're getting errors in the deploys. What's up? Does not exist. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm stupid. I'm gonna go back to this repo because we need a post install for this to work on the server. Add post install for Prisma. Cool. And let's make sure this builds, and then I will call it a night. New build kicked off. Here we go. We're off for the running. Are we doing good? That's so cool. It generates initially there. So it's going to output a static HTML page and regenerate it every 60 seconds, and it even calls that out here. That's so cool. That's literally one variable, and it just does that. Next.js is magic. Vercel is kicking so much ass. Cool. That means we now have roundest T3GG with the results. Oh, why is this initial load failing? Responded with... Oh, I never ran the DB migration on production. That's what I forgot to do. Not the migration, the... Not the ODEV, I want to do main. Pscale connect main, because I have to run that script again. There we go. And now this works. Cool. That was so easy. We did it. Howdy, friggin' Mudkip. Good person to stop by at this moment. Because now... Oh, why'd Cacnea not load? Oh, it did. It just took a while. Sentra's pretty round. Noctowl's pretty round. Palkia's pretty round. Squirtle's pretty round. Gonna share the link in chat for everybody who wants it, because we now have a real production service. And a results page that Yep, now it has regenerated. Oh, we're currently doing that. Oh, we're not sorting by the right value right now. We're going to see people with higher percents than others. How do I want to handle that? Oh, I have a quick fix. This is dumb, but it works. And since it's like server side, I don't care as much. Perhaps a Pokemon.filter, or not filter, sort A, B. Generate B minus generate count A. Cool. This will now sort by percent instead of by vote count, which is good enough for me. By vote count instead, or by percent instead of vote count. I'll go make it to fixed too. Fine. Fixed digits, or fixed decimals on percents. Git push. Cool. I'm calling this done. Momentarily, this service will get updated such that the 33.33s and 66.66s will no longer be that way and will instead be formatted more correctly. I'm expecting the results on this to be, I don't want to say lackluster, but poorly representative of the true roundest Pokemon until we've had this going for a while. But over time, I would expect these numbers to become more meaningful. It looks like the second deployment went. Any moment now, there will be another deployment where all the hundreds will become 100.00 and mu will be 66.66. Oh wait, no, they're in the wrong order again. Oh, I was getting a different cached asset? That's pretty cool that that can be a thing since I'm caching these every minute. Well, I think I can say safely that we did it. Really appreciate everybody who came by for this one. I know this was a goofy, or an extra goofy stream, but I hope you got to learn a few things from it. Please feel free to reference this stream, share it with others, ask questions in the future, whatever else. I wanted this to be an example of how all of the parts I like to play with come together when you have a problem you're working backwards from. And I think this is pretty close to what I was expecting to build when we look at here and here. I would say this is almost exactly what we had sketched out. So yeah. Oh, and there's the 100.0s because we did the fixed. So this will now look much better too.